Good afternoon, students. This is Ms. Estrada with your week 7 and 8 lecture video. I'm going to go ahead and start on the homepage. I do apologize for the delay, as the class won't normally start for week 7 until March 2nd. This is just me opening it up early, but I am recording this a few days early in the hopes that you're able to see this. As always, I'm starting on the homepage. This is where everything was found, due dates, announcements, anything like that. The last recap announcement that you see was posted on February 27th, and it just says Happy National Pokemon Day, which I'm recording this on Saturday, February 28th. This was just me saying, hey, if you would like some bonus points, send them my way by Sunday, March 1st. Send me your favorite Pokemon or even just the word Pokemon for some bonus points. But let's go into the folder, which I have now recapped in the announcements that week 7 and 8 are now open. And let me go ahead and open those up for you. And as we go into the week 7 folder, this is what's in there. We have the week 7 lecture slides, and the online exam is now open. The extra credit number 3 is also open for you, and this extra credit will allow you up to 8 points off of your analytical essay or annotated bibliography or the final. So the lowest of the 3, you get to do that. And then it just says right here, the due date for this folder is different than any other folder. My grading book closes approximately Tuesday, March 10th at 4 p.m., whereas you can still turn this in by its due date, which is Sunday, March 8th, but the next available 2 days, that's all it is as the grading book closes. Normally you get a couple of extra days, up to 4 days with deduction points, but my grading book closes on this day, so that's where it stops. And then note, the essay and the annotated bibliography are heavily weighted, each of them worth 15% of your total grade, for a total grade amount for both of them is 30%. The due date for the window, which it was opened up February 27th, I haven't changed that. It was opened up February 27th. Plenty of time for you to complete it until March 8th. I won't reopen it, but please consider the fact that if you need good internet location, just make sure that you're aware of that. It covers all that you need, and you get up to 3 hours, and I take the highest of the 2 lowest attempts. Please understand that as an exam or any other quiz or assessment apps you've seen, whenever you put in multiple choice or true false, the computer will automatically know the answer or recognize it and then give you your response or grade. But I have yet to go in with manual responses. So if you're sitting at like a 30 or 40, wait a little bit and I go back and I grade your manual responses if you've added them. So your grade should go up by then. And then, just as I've said it and mentioned it for the final exam, this is the grading period for the analytical essay. I went ahead and opened up the folder so that way you have it for week 7 and week 8, so that way you have time to submit it. It is due March 9th at 11:59. So you have that whole day to submit it. Failure to not turn it in by Tuesday, March 10th at 4 p.m. will result in a 0. My grading book will automatically close online. I won't accept submissions. Please do not attempt until that time to turn in work. I have to give myself plenty of time to grade at least 100 research papers coming in. So this is just me adequately doing so. This is an essay that you're going to be turning into the week 8 folder. And as you turn in your essay, just bear in mind that this essay covers an essay, a works cited page, and an annotated bibliography. There must be a works cited page. The works cited page needs to cite all the sources that you have given, and up to any point, if you have trouble accessing or citing or formatting these, feel free to reach out. I am here to help in any way that I can. If you just have a strange source that you would like me to help you cite in case you haven't looked at the resources, feel free to reach out. Mrs. Strada, as an email, for example, Mrs. Strada, I have this source. How do I cite it? I could either help you cite it, or I can show you and pinpoint some sources that will help you with that. But failure to not include a works cited page will result in a 0. So please understand that. So here are the 3 things that we have in this folder for week 7. We have the lecture slides, we have the final exam, and the extra credit opportunity. So we have the lecture slides right here. I'm going to open it up. I'm in my office right now, so I'm recording as if we were in class. These are the objectives for week 7, day 1. We have a recap and we have the peer review. So if we were in class, we would actually do the workshop of peer review. But I do this for many of my classes because I feel like peer review is an often overlooked step in the writing process. So we also include that as well because it's the only time that we are given that. So this is a recap of last week. You were given the instructions and the resources. You got to look at Ain't I a Woman by Sojourner Truth, the text and audio, The Artist of the Beautiful, and you were uploading Significance of a Title and Letters to the Civil War. So the content for that, if you're reading this on time, then this makes sense. But the due date for that is Sunday, March 1st. Important reminder as we come to the ending weeks of the semester, please be reminded that I also host in-person hours. Those are for anybody online in person if you would like to come by. Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. But if you prefer afternoon hours or Zoom conference, if that's the only way that you can reach me, feel free to reach out, okay? This is in the week 7 online folder. We have the lecture slides, the extra credit opportunity number 3, and then the final exam. And you cannot turn in the extra credits late. They have to be turned in on time. Okay, so if we were in class, I would take a moment to talk about peer review and how that works within a class setting, but this also helps out in an online class as well. So what is peer review? This is as if you were having a draft right in front of you if you were in the class or even online. So we have to look at what peer review is to understand what that integrates with in the writing process. Peer review is a step in the writing process that allows students to clarify their own ideas in writing by receiving feedback and critique from others. The use of peer review, whether individual or peer review on its own, in doing so, you get to learn how to read and analyze work more critically, learn how to strengthen your writing by considering suggestions made by others, and learn how to gather, respond to helpful but constructive criticism and feedback. And here are some helpful guidelines to peer review. You will be reading drafts from other people or your own. And while you do so, it's important to understand the comments and suggestions. So this is also peer review slides that I use for in-person. So it also helps out as if it was individually. First and foremost, whether you're reading your own draft or somebody else's, make sure that you read the content thoroughly. Is it asking and addressing what your prompt is given? Make sure to take time with each paragraph. While we are writers and we write just to write, sometimes it's important to go back and review. And if you are making editorial comments on somebody else's draft, make sure that you are being constructive and helpful. Many of us come from different backgrounds and varieties and life plans, so it's important to know that our languages are often different than other people. And if you were making comments, whether on your own or others, make sure they're clear and concise. If you need to write out a comment, be sure to do so. As a reader, don't be afraid to raise questions or if they're vague or confusing. So you're also the writer. You're taking off that hat and you're becoming the editor all in one. Okay? Look at the questions. Your job is to not fix a paper if another draft is given to you. It's to help lead them in the right direction. And look at claims. Look at evidence if they have evidence that is needed within their paper, whether it's a topic that was chosen and you explored it as a biography or an analytical essay. Be sure that if they are needing required sources or quotes, make sure that those are used well. Look at their organization. Look at sentence structure and look at word choice. Oftentimes, I do ask this in many of my courses, whether it's 1301 and 1302, to look at your conjunctions like, so, and, but, because, really, a lot, very. These words often are repetitive and they become fluff in our papers. So if we were to take them out, what other words can we use? And that is just like a little workshop type of thing to do and to consider when it comes to peer review. Reminder for number 2, the essay must be typed and ready to be submitted by Monday, March 9th. Failure to not turn in after that, I automatically deduct 30 points. But failure to not turn in after March 10th, Tuesday by 4 p.m., it results in a 0. But remember, early submissions are always welcome. And again, I opened this up early so that way you have it. But we also have the final exam, which is opened. It's now available for you. These are my directions for it. It does close March 8th. I have forgotten how many questions I have on here, but this is just my understanding of the instructions point of view. But take your time with it. Review everything that's in the folders. I also have an extra credit opportunity number 3. This extra credit number 3 will afford you up to 8 points off of your final exam. Sorry, this says the essay. the essay. I just caught that, sorry. The essay or the final exam and or the annotated bib. And it just says, what is one assignment, lecture, or lesson that you've learned this year from any teacher, any time frame, any subject? And what did that assignment cause you to do? Any teacher, any area, any category, any subject. Whether it was my class, whether it was an in-person class, whether it was a class that you took from another college simultaneously, consider that. And I would like you to, as an extra credit, upload it for me. And if there's a text box, you're more than welcome to put in the text box. But if it requires a brand new Word document, you're more than welcome to do that. And as you can see, it's now available for you. So that's easy for us to see it. Going back into the folder. And now we look at week 7, part 2. So you may ask what was up with the lecture slides from week 7, part 1. And I will tell you. So there is a peer review journal in this analytical essay submission for this class in this folder. Because we're not meeting necessarily in person, it's vital for you to review your work and to look at a draft and consider the idea that if my paper is ready to be submitted, such statements would be already listed. They're ready. It's good to go. It's perfect, polished, and pretty, as I would say. And many of this content is what you would see in week 7 forward, part 1 folder moving forward. All of this is just statements that you already know. But the one thing that's in this folder, and it has a week 7 due date, is this peer review journal. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. That way you have it. Let's click on it. Okay. So for peer review as an individual, I would like you to consider the following. As with any essay, the use of writing process details outline, drafting. So as this is an online class, and this is a whole thing, you may have to look at your own paper for this use. Below are a few statements that I will ask you to fill out and complete as you begin to draft or consider what you've written so far. And in this essay, you don't have to attach or upload a separate draft to look and compare and contrast. I'm just simply asking you to pull up a draft and answer these questions within this text box. So you're completing this as you're supposed to. There's no need to reply to others. Remember, your draft is not a final copy. A draft can still be edited and revised and corrected. It is not final until it's submitted. So at some times, I've even had students that have changed their topic wholeheartedly in its entirety. I've had people change their topic from last 2 days to the time that it's submitted. But that's what happens whenever you go in and you look at your essay. So here's peer review that I would like you to do. You're simply going to read the statements and you're going to reflect on them. And it has the questions right here, but I also have an example of how you would do that. It should be down here, okay? So what you're going to do is you're either going to copy all of these questions in your own text box right here, and you're going to answer them as yes or no, or if you just want to put question 1, yes. Question number 2, no. You're answering the form of yes or no unless the statements ask for something different. So it says simply read the statements and reflect on these. Copy all these questions as option 1 in this text box and answer yes, no, however, with the questions included, or you can do option number 2, which is just push or just write out number 1 and your answer. Number 2 and your answer. So these are good questions to reflect on peer review. You can look at it as their title. Yes, no. Is there an interesting hook? Overall, can I tell if this is going to be an analytical essay? Is this going to specify a topic and then just look at it in an analytical way? And look at some of these things and how this helps you with the formatting of your paper. If you need to make revisions, go forth. This also asks you the question, is your paper ready to be submitted? Okay. It also asks, does your essay already include a works cited page or annotated bibliography? Those are 2 different things. If you don't have one or the other, make sure that those things are listed. Okay. And then also with this checklist, just make sure that your name is at the bottom. Okay. So option 1, copy all these questions and then just write at the end yes, no of each question. Or option 2, just write out number 1, yes. Number 2, yes. Number 3, all the way down. And then include your name at the bottom. Okay. And that is a peer review for you to look at for week 7 folder part 2. And then I have in the week 8 folder the following things. I just have the submission modules for both the research paper and the annotated bibliography. And as I've mentioned before, this is an essay that you're turning in as an electronic copy. And then it has the due dates for all of that good stuff, okay? So I have the submission modules for both. You are more than welcome to submit both as one long document, which is perfectly fine. I just made a submission box for both in case you have one, the document of an essay on one side, and then you have the annotated bibliography as another one. So it says, as my instructions state to keep all the documents together, you're more than welcome to. However, there's a separate module for the annotated bibliography if you are compelled to separate them. If you decide to keep them together, you're going to upload them here. Ensure that it is accessible and viewable to me as a PDF or Microsoft Word, Google, but as a viewable sheet. If I cannot access or view it, I cannot grade it. And this is just something that I will stress right now. If you're having trouble with it, then just go ahead and make a PDF. If I cannot view it for whatever reason, and this is finals week and I have to reach out to you, I cannot grade it. Okay, so you just have to make sure that I can read it. If you're having trouble and you submit it, just say, Ms. Estrada, through an email, can you view this? So that way I have a couple days to grade it. But if you're having trouble, reach out to me. There's always a way for us to submit things. But as always, feel free to let me know. My preference whenever it comes to these would be Microsoft Word or PDF. Okay, and then I just have the due date for this. Okay, I think there was more on here. Okay, I even wrote on here just to kind of let you know a little bit of background whenever you're submitting the paper or the annotated bibliography. It tells you to make sure that you have paragraphs, make sure that the essay must have sources, to have a title, and then it tells you where you would find that. This submission will also look similar when it comes to the submission module for the annotated bibliography, I believe. And I'm just clicking on it as the viewer side, making sure that you have all of these requirements. And just like I said, this essay will require a works cited page. So the annotated bibliography, if I have not said so, is just an extension of your works cited page. It is simply your works cited page extended. It is your works cited page. You're changing the title from works cited to annotated bibliography. And for every source listed in your works cited page, you just add a paragraph as to how that source was used. One sentence on how you can summarize it, one sentence on its accessibility, and one sentence on reflecting it. That's it. It is the same sources, okay? And so at a glance, now all of your folders are open. And at any time, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you. As always, I'm here to help you succeed. And this is my email. And if I haven't said so already, it has been a pleasure teaching you. I hope that you've enjoyed all the beautiful things that we've had endured during these movements, these wonderful authors, the recap announcements, and all the wonderful assignments that have incurred with this course. I have enjoyed having each of you. And if you're ever in person, if you ever want to stop by, feel free to reach out to me. I have enjoyed having each of you.